Well, ladies and gents, in a fascinating turn of events, Amber Turd has fired Elaine Bredehoft and loads of other part of her legal counsel, but kept Rottenborn? Interesting. Don't really understand where that mindset comes from. Now, Elaine Bredehoft was pretty incompetent, as were they all. But that's because they had to deal with Amber Heard as an employer, as a witness. Not a very good one. So, fascinating stuff. This comes to us from Deadline. We're going to take a look at this, ladies and gents. It's a weird one. You know, it's a weird one for me. Reading this. Amber Heard hires new lawyers for Johnny Depp trial verdict appeal. Philly firm bested Sarah Palin in recent New York Times libel battle. Now, this could go one of two ways, right? Like, this could go the way of her PR team. She changed them halfway through the trial. And that was a massive failure. Mainly because they got Me Too'd. And they kept paying people to do ridiculous pieces of articles. And they were all awful articles. They don't make her look good in any way, shape or form. They come across beggy and pleady. And loads of people keep referencing these new unsealed documents. They're like, oh, Johnny Depp was going to show nude photos of Amber Heard. So, they kept trying to paint Johnny Depp as an abuser. Someone who, you know, was on the nod. Which, if you don't know, is literally a British term for having a nap. And they were like, oh, she's on the nod. That's what he means when he's, you know, so whacked out on drugs. No, mate. It's just British term. Your maroons. So these unsealed documents that they keep referencing, I don't think they really paint him that bad. Like, I've had a look at some of them. I don't see it. I don't see it. You know, using all the photos, doctored photos and images and things like that, and then they're like, oh yeah, but Johnny Depp was going to use naked images. So. It's a trial. Everything comes out. No one's worse than the other in this situation in terms of what they were planning to use as evidence. I don't see that. I don't get it. But people go to the whole misogyny situation. Say, what about the misandry, huh? What about that? But anyway, let's look at this, right? So Amber Heard is replacing most of her legal team and leaning into the Constitution. Because that's where she lies. She wants to do the whole freedom of speech situation. You've had the freedom to say it, love. You've now been sued for it. That's just how it works. You have the freedom of speech. It doesn't mean you can get away without any consequence. That's what everyone keeps saying, isn't it? You know, when people are like, oh, you can't be a bigot, my freedom of speech. Well, yeah, but freedom of consequence, blah. So there you go then. That's it, done. And obviously she's going to be appealing the multi-million defamation verdict awarded to Johnny Depp. Not entirely unexpected. The move by the Aquaman actress to cut loose her main attorney, Elaine Bredehoft, follows weeks of judicial jockeying by both of the Rum Diary co-stars to have another kick at the courtroom can with notices of intended appeals. The difference here being Johnny Depp obviously posted his bond. Amber Turd did not. And Elaine Bredehoft was obviously incompetent, but as was Rottenborn. Now, having seen ex-husband Depp awarded $10.35 million by Virginia jury on June 1st after an often acerbic and explicit 6-week trial, Heard has now hired David L. Axelrod and J. Ward Brown to represent her attempt to rescind the judgment. Now, Ben Rottenborn of Virginia-based Wood Rogers Vandeventer Black will remain as co-counsel, so he's still on board, but not really. Now, I guess he's only on board as a co-counsel, you know, capacity, just because he's familiar with the first trial and can, obviously, if it goes back to a trial, then he can obviously, you know, he's best positioned there to. Or just to reveal tidbits of info or strategize, I guess. But yeah, the Burley decision to bring on board the Ballard Sphere lawyers, Axelrod and Brown, was made public today in a court filing in the Old Dominion. The makeup of the new Philadelphia originating defense team makes it apparent that Heard's appeal will focus on the First Amendment and aspects of a legal fracas with Depp. We welcome the opportunity to represent Ms. Heard in this appeal, as it is a case with important First Amendment implications for every American. You can't lie about being beaten up. Fucking what? Why do I have to say this? You can't lie about being sexually abused with a bottle. You just can't lie about this stuff and expect to get away with it. Your First Amendment rights don't... Like, you can say what you want, but you can still get sued for it. Like, I don't sit here and say half the stuff, you know, that I could say or that would be comedically based, or there's so many things that I could do here on this channel, but you can't because you could get sued. Like, there's a lot of things, right? Like, you have the right to say it. Be my guest. Still get the consequences of those actions, though. It's not in your First Amendment to sit around. You know, you're not free from the legal implications of that. First Amendment for every American. Shut up. We're confident that the appellate court will apply the law properly without defence to popularity, reverse the judgment against Ms. Heard, and reaffirm the fundamental principles of freedom of speech. I think this is irritating as a statement because it implies that the first one, the first judgment wasn't the law and justice being handed out properly, and then actually it was compromised due to popularity, right? I mean, that's absolutely fucking nonsense. That really is. Now, specialising in the freedom of speech clause in America's founding document, Axelrod and Brown served as counsel to the New York Times' successful battle against Sarah Palin's libel suit over a sloppy June 14, 2017 editorial in the paper. In the quickly corrected article, the New York Times initially drew a link between the ex-GOP VP candidate's political action committee and a 2011 mass shooting that tragically saw 6 people killed, and then Rep. Gabby Giffords severely wounded. Likely to be appealed, Mars Singer contestant Palin's legal action was unanimously rejected by an Empire State jury and the judge overseeing the matter on February 15th. I mean, that's a pretty mental thing to draw comparison to as well, to be fair. How's that comparable in any shape or form? Or whatever. So, you know, with the exception of Rottenborn's May 27th, closing argument, the palpable First Amendment grounds was peculiarly almost ignored in the trial. It's not ignored. You just don't have the right to mouth off nonsense. I mean, why is this like new to people? I don't get it. I really don't get it. So obviously they're preparing to go to appeal. And they've been preparing literally ever since the verdict was, you know, thrown down. Again, it is interesting. Chucking Elaine Bredehoft out. Interesting stuff, I guess. And I mean, that's about it, really. Where do you think this is going to go? I can't see them winning this. But I mean, she's doing her best because she's got no money. So let me know what you guys think down below. Cheers, guys. Take care. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out my Teespring store. Supporting the channel via this way does go a long way. But also, not only that, you do get to wear some awesome merch. These are one-of-a-kind designs designed for me by my graphic designer. We, of course, have our Clown World line, which is in mugs, hoodies, t-shirts. We've got Space Jeebus. And then for something a little bit different, we, of course, have right down at the bottom right here, we have our Pulsar GTIR. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out and supporting my second channel, which is Car Nonsense. This is a vlog and car channel. You can find links to this in the description box, along with my Teespring. Please do consider supporting.